I thought it happened for a reason. I thought Ryan's misfortune was meant to happen so that my destiny could be fulfilled. His shoulders slunk together. He swallowed more whiskey, choking slightly as it went down. Dodge, on the other hand, spun the gun on his desk. He knew just how hard to touch it to get the effect he wanted. He did it again and again so that Foster couldn't take his eyes off of it. And when it stopped spinning, it always pointed at Foster. Dodge asked questions the way that a cat toys with its victim, questions designed to stoke Foster's doubts. When you demand that God create energy for you, isn't that using the Lord's name in vain? Then he'd spin the gun again, wait for it to stop, and ask another question. If you would have no God before him, then where do you get off demanding that he expose himself to you? Why you? And like an injured mouse, Foster grew weaker. You did it for a boat. The patents were bogus and you knew it. You stole, you coveted, you gave false witness. Dodge refilled Foster's glass less often as time passed and managed to synchronize spinning the gun with moments when Foster's doubts seemed to be boiling to the surface. When Foster started to nod off, Dodge poured a capsule into his drink. He didn't even try to hide it, just popped open a capsule, a mix of caffeine and ephedrine, and tapped it into the glass. The powder floated over the surface of the amber liquid, and Foster drank it. You see, Foster, Dodge topped off the glass one more time. You keep saying that you're doing God's work, but this time you'd actually be helping him out. How? Foster said. What do you mean? I can't help Katerina. It's too late to help Ryan. What can I do? You could kill yourself. Dodge picked up the gun and stared at it. The greenish light from the desk lamp reflected off the dark blue steel. You know why I leave this gun out on my desk? Too drunk to focus, but too wired to pass out, Foster shook his head as though he hadn't heard clearly. I leave this gun out to remind myself that being alive is optional. Truth is, no one else really cares whether you live or not. He worked the hammer loose and set it gently on the chamber, spun the cylinder and cocked it again. The gun made a satisfying click. Dodge held it up to his head, pointed the barrel just in front of his ear, pointed so that the projectile would travel through his brain and out behind the other ear. Every night, I hold this gun up to my head like this, and I ask myself a question. You want to know what that question is? Y'all are crazy. I ask myself if I want to see tomorrow. Do I really want to go through it again? And so far, I've decided to keep going. Dodge took the gun away from his head and offers it to Foster, handle first. You should try it. It's liberating. Just what you need, really. And don't worry, I'll be happy to clean your mortal remains off my walls. Foster took the gun. The cold metal in his hand seemed to rouse his consciousness, so Dodge took another swipe. When you think of sin, theft, murder, adultery, those are the easy ones. You went for the big one, didn't you? Idolatry, name in vain. He was right, Foster said. The Nobel laureate was right, and Ryan knew it. He knew it and didn't tell me because he knew I wouldn't listen. That's right. Tell me what happened. Tell me how you failed your God. I gave a talk last month at a physics conference. A man asked a question. He looked at Dodge, and his eyes focused for the first time in hours. I answered it. I thought it was a good answer, too. And he told me I'd done something wonderful. And I did do something wonderful, but I didn't do anything divine. Foster went quiet. His hands dropped to the desk under the weight of the gun. Do you want to see tomorrow? Do you? Dodge whispered. Why? Foster looked at the gun, and as he looked, his hand rose and tightened. Don't worry, Dodge said. It's cocked, ready to go. Just ask yourself the question. Foster looked at the gun. His hand slowly rotated so that he was looking down the barrel. Let's add it up, Reed. Why would you want to see tomorrow? First, you ripped off everyone you know. Your wife loved you, and instead of returning her love, you made her into a fucking angel. How hard do you think it was for her to live up to that? Second, you fucked over your best friend. Way I heard it, you could have said one word to Ryan's wife and she wouldn't have thrown him out. Third, you betrayed your God and religion. Fourth, you lied to the whole world. And why? because you decided that God chose you personally for glory. And fifth, you were trying to have God give you credit for the work of a 14-year-old girl. Todd shook his head and released a long sigh. That's quite a tab. I advise you to close it. A bead of sweat rolled down Foster's brow to the arch of his nose, then down the side. Everything I've done has been... Dodge spoke softly. Everything you've done has hurt people, has hurt Jesus' flock. And now you have a chance to make it up. To Katerina, to Ryan, in heaven, or maybe hell. He whispered, "You're a wolf. You're Satan." Still staring down the barrel, Foster tensed. The skin on his face tightened from his forehead to his chin. "Oh, God, let me go. Please forgive me." Softly again, Dodge said, "Just pull the trigger. Yield up the ghost. Just pull." Foster closed his eyes and tightened his finger on the trigger. And as the hammer came down, to God Patton, thank you very much.